My name is Silvia Forlati. I am originally Italian and an architect, and I'm actually not in Italy at the moment, but behind me you see the skyscape of Vienna. And what I would like to do today is to tell you about a research I've been doing, partly with my architecture office, Share Architects, but also with the Technical University of Vienna, and how this research connects to the issue of spatial justice. The issue of the research is about mixed use and how can we support mixed use in the creation of new urban quarters, but also in existing situation. And I guess the first question one has to answer is, what does this have to do with spatial justice? Well, we are coming from, our starting point is the situation in Vienna, and you see it in the background of here. And one of the things Vienna is famous about is its housing programs, and its affordable housing programs, which, and I think it's a lot of special justice can be seen in the possibility of people to have appropriate housing. But there is a level which is, I think, perceivable in Vienna, which goes beyond housing, and it's the issue of creating affordable cities as a whole. And to do that, you also need to create not only affordable housing spaces, but also affordable working spaces of different kinds. And that was a bit the starting point of the research, and I am going to tell you about a couple of issues we have been looking into and which I think might be interesting to develop and to consider also in our contexts. One of the first issue that one can confront when looking at how to create mixed use, or how to improve the amount of non-housing spaces when you develop new part of a city, has to do with regulatory frameworks, which are very strongly focused on, here in Austria, here in Vienna, and creating affordability for housing, and often results in creating monofunctional pieces of a city where people are only able to live, but where there is there are not very much other things than flats. Maybe there are parks, but when you think, okay, where can I maybe have a coffee, or where can where can I find something which is not a standard supermarket, the answer is often nowhere. And this is quite a challenge to think, how can we change this? The city has been doing some experiments about this with different results, but for sure there is a lack of instrument and a lack of also financing possibilities to create affordable spaces which are for non-living uses. And RV spaces, that's maybe the second issue, RV spaces important, and we think they are, because they allow people to not only to maybe to create different live-work patterns within the urban texture, and also they create spaces where initiatives and collaborations and cooperations can start. So what we have done is to look at existing situations in the city and to start to map which kind of spaces which are there, and that are affordable and open to other users that are not living. And we have seen, of course, that in existing and older pieces of the city, there are quite a lot of them, and in the new parts of the city, they are missing. So, where do these spaces come from? It's clear because the pressure to create a revenue is in older buildings not as high as in new buildings. So this kind of spaces are more easy to be found in existing and older pieces of town. What we did is with a group of students in the framework of a research project which is called Mixing is Possible, or Mission Possible. We mapped in a certain area of town in the north Nordbahnhof. We mapped which kind of spaces are there and how do they work. And one of the results of this mapping was to highlight the fact that they are actually often the result of initiatives and of cooperations, that they also create a kind of invisible and mostly unplanned infrastructure within the city, where also external people can receive something back from these spaces. Like, for example, they often have small spaces for events where you can maybe create have your birthday party, or there is a space for making some theater, or even workshop situations, or places where lectures are given that are for free. So they basically offer with kind of low-cost possibilities of various kinds, very much also to do with cultural inputs, which is not planned, has not a high level of subsidies, or low mostly, and also based on passions and of singular persons and visions of singular persons who want to create something. And this kind of infrastructure is also something that makes the life of the citizens much better. So the interesting part of this is the question, okay, how can you help this kind of ecological system to a kind of ecology of if you want to grow, and which kind of instruments could be put in place. In a city like Vienna, for example, we have a lot of instruments that are dedicating to housing and how to create affordable housing in certain places. And then you have also instruments that are maybe supporting entrepreneurs or this kind of ideas, but they are not linked to mostly not linked to specific places. So the idea to kind of how can you help initiative within a certain geographical area is for sure interesting, and also moving, let's say, to instead of just looking, I mean, the option of top-down interventions like the housing might be, the option of bottom-up subsidies, that's usual, but the possibility maybe also of bottom-linked instruments where you help initiatives to move forwards, but the initiative is coming from itself and not from you as a city. And in the frame of this thinking and of a research project, there was also a collaboration with a very interesting social enterprise, which is called Imgrätzl, where and that is focused on creating visibility, online visibility, and networking for local, they called lokale Anbieterinnen, so local initiatives, local makers, and with them, and in the frame of research, there was an online tool that was developed, which is called the Raumteiler, which allows different people, so people that are looking for, that connects people that are looking for spaces with people that are able to offer spaces because they are willing to share their own working space. And this kind of tool, it was has been developed for the whole city and applied to and offered to the whole city, and has become a very successful solution for this that helps the creation of this kind of spaces. At the bottom line, I think we are now also going towards the end of my input. I think it's this possibility of looking at the small things. It's a bit like if a city is a big, a lot of ingredients being prepared in the food, sometimes you need a little bit of salt or a little bit of a certain spice to create the right flavor. And I think this kind of small and maybe also in a certain perspective marginal spaces are also the ones that can create a special flavor, and that's why and also create for everybody a better flavor. So that's where I think the issue of special justice might be also of relevance in this point of view.